I love this moment between Kendall and his wife Fantasia. But I want to talk about why women are crying over this love story. Honey, it's bigger than the ring. And I was in the comments and I hear and see what people are whispering and saying. And some are asking the real question. They're saying, why now, Kendall? 11 years later, bro, why now? Now, there are a few plausible reasons that fit what he actually said on stage. Like, he talked about the blind spot in their marriage. He talked about, them walking into a new home and a new season of their life. He also talked about how they prayed together. Honey, married people that pray together, stay together. Let me just throw that disclaimer out there. And then he talked about he can't walk into this new season of his life without making things right. Now, none of us can know for sure, but here are some strong, realistic possibilities that I can offer as suggestions to the whisper and comments, not accusations, because we don't do that, and just the weight of what it means for Fantasia herself when this moment happened on Valentine's Day. Now, the first thing I want y'all to think about is this wasn't a simple romantic gesture. It was a public announcement that something sacred in Fantasia's love story had been rushed and was finally being honored the way it should have been from the beginning. And to stand there and receive that ring meant accepting more than the romance. Honey, can somebody say the romance is just what we saw on the outer layer, but in the inside it was giving something else. Fantasia was allowing her husband to revisit a chapter in her life that had already passed. So why did Kendall do this 11 years later? Is important to Fantasia, but it became important to many other women, Black women in particular, honey, who was on this internet crying when they saw this moment and looked at that video because they simply wanted to know, when is my time? So I'm not going to insult your intelligence because I do believe that finances played a part in it. And I think you know that too at the end of the day. Like, he had to come correct if he was going to do something in front of millions of people. So the ring, somebody say the ring, had to be big. But again, I told you, outside looking in, that's what we're seeing, the romance part, but there's something much deeper. I don't know Kendall's full background. I don't know the history of him and Fantasia's relationship. I only know what we see on social media. And sometimes the man that you marry is not the same man 11 years later. So even though Kendall could have did this at year 2 they were married, 3, 4, or 5 of their marriage, I believe that something between year 1 of marriage, in between up until year 11, which is their current status, matured in him. And the truth is, this is to my women who were crying online. The truth is, many women will look at Fantasia's love story, and if Fantasia was to give you the meat and potatoes of the relationship, you will make a decision internally within yourself that say, no, I'm not willing to wait or connect with a man on that level. You would be like, sis, I just ain't got it in. What I have found, and I think this is just like in recent years, I don't know if it's with this generation of marriages, but early marriages can be survived, but they're survived on momentum and the things that shine, visuals that we see on social media when it comes to like the dress, the flowers, the reception, the pictures, and all that kind of good stuff. But later on, once that stuff passed, once you get past that honeymoon phase, which is usually maybe like within the first year or 2, sometimes people can stretch it out to year 5. Later on down the line, instead of your marriage growing on potential, it now becomes intentional. And so Kendall may have loved Fantasia in the beginning. I don't doubt that. But that love matures over time, especially when you done went through some things. And in year 1, he may have not had the finances or the emotional stability or the spiritual maturity to honor her properly the way he understands it now. Or honey, it may just be, he was like, it's better to get married than to burn. That's what the Bible say, honey. Who really knows? Because they got married like in 3 months. And some people get married in 3 months and they make it a lifetime. Some people get married in 3 months, honey, and it lasts for about 3 weeks. Now, if I've lost some people, let me say it like this. If your husband skipped the process of properly proposing and he said, let's just go to the courthouse and get married, how many of you would jump to the opportunity? You can raise your hand because, honey, I probably would be that one that jumps on the opportunity as well. But it doesn't take away from the fact that women want the aesthetics of marriage. And so years down the line into your marriage, you're not mad, but you really are mad that you was not afforded the opportunity that your husband proposed to you correctly. And some women weaponize the man, or they weaponize their marriage because the proposal was skipped and they went straight to the courthouse in 3 months to get married. Now for Fantasia and Kendall, I'm not saying that that was the case, but it does sound like it may have came up from time to time. And at the end of the day, this could simply be a redo of a proposal. Men do it all the time. Some men want to be seen as the one who covers, honors, and correct. So Kendall could have been saying to himself quietly that I'm not too proud to fix what I missed. Honey, we all know that Fantasia's life has had a lot of public narratives. God bless her. And this could be him drowning a line out like, I'm going to honor my wife loudly on purpose so that, honey, there's no confusion. He's marking time. 11 years, honey, is going to be like, we made it. The 1 carat per year idea screams milestone. And married couples don't always celebrate year to year. They celebrate we survived a decade and express gratitude after hardship. It's really a humbling thing to go back and look over your life to be like, we made it. And I truly feel like that's what this moment is. When people say, oh, we prayed so much, that usually means real storms have happened. And sometimes after the storm has passed, people try to redo what the storm stole from them. So I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Love isn't always loud in the beginning. Sometimes it's rushed. Sometimes it's incomplete. And sometimes a man wakes up years later and realizes, I gave her my heart, but I didn't give her the moment that she deserved. And I think that this is exactly what this is. So y'all leave your thoughts. Those are mine. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.